So what is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to do the daily vibe in a live stream. Now, the reason I'm doing the daily vibe today on a live stream is I think because the subject we're going to speak about, there may be a few people who pop in, ask me some questions, a little bit of advice, may know a friend, may be in that position themselves. So I thought maybe let's do a live stream. But before we get into it, I really do appreciate all the new subscribers. Over the week, we've probably got an extra 50 subscribers, which is excellent support. So a big shout out to everyone who has subscribed. If you already haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video and get it around for people who will need it, because there will be a lot that have needed it. The channel is called still Forever Football, but we have shortened it because some of our special guests, well, I wouldn't say special guests because we're all special, but some people in the chat when we was on Curtis Shaw's TV were saying that the name was too long and the algorithm in the YouTube and people are finding it hard to find. So I've changed it to FFTV. Very simple for everyone to jump on board. Very simple for the algorithm. Yes, it's Forever Football, but we're going to shorten it to FFTV. So welcome to FATV with myself, Francis Green. And just in the thumbnail and just in the banner you can see going across the bottom, today's subject, the Daily Quick Vibe, is on about when players get released. It's a subject that not a lot of people speak about. And for me, it's a very strange part of the season. We're all now waiting for the Euros to happen just to get some football on TV. Got my English shirt on. And everyone's joyous. Everyone's can be sad. Everyone's happy at times because of how their team or they as a player or a fan has done this season. It's been a very strange season. We couldn't get to games. Obviously, there's a few games towards the end of the season that we can get in. But like you say, there's a lot of joy, but mostly sadness in football because only a small select go on to do the things that we all want to achieve, and only a small few teams get promoted, etc., and win cups. So there's more sad when it comes to the end of the season than there is joy. And that is a subject that I want to speak about. And that is when players get released. Now, this can be very broad, you know, and firstly, I'm going to touch on the established professionals that get released. You know, it happened to me. It happens to nearly every professional footballer. But we'll start with the established ones. And I'm going to go down to the young ones because that's where a lot of information and a lot of help is not around for the young ones, and parents seek out a little bit of help. What do I do next? I've spoken with many parents, but we will get to that. So firstly, we'll speak about the pros. So when pros get released, depending on how long they've been a pro, but let's say an established professional footballer, he's 23, 24, he's come through, he's played a few games, and he gets released. His contract's up. This could be from the Premier League all the way down to League Two, the four professional leagues, okay? He gets released. Now, when he's established, people tend to know already what he's about. He's probably got 100, 150 appearances, maybe more under his belt. So when the established pro gets released from a football club, a lot of the time he will have a suitor already. Believe it or not, there's 1,000 footballers, and there's going to be a lot more when it comes to this summer. There's going to be probably about 1,500 footballers out of a job. Now, when you say that, 1,500 footballers out of a job, only 10% of those will go and get a contract, what will maintain their lifestyle or will be able to keep their head above water. The other 900 or whatever it may be will really struggle and have to go and find different types of work, whether it's coaching or drop down the leagues. And that's the mental side of it. Now, the established pros, like I said, they'll have an agent, they'll get a football club, or they'll have someone willing to pay them. Not always, but a lot of the time, there will be someone at some level who will be willing to pay these players who have been released. And they would have been released or have rejection earlier on in their career. So I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's a lot easier than it is when there's a young kid who's gone all through the academy and he gets to 18, 19 and the club don't want him and he doesn't know any other way. So firstly, when an established pro gets released, not all the time, but a lot of the time, there is some type of way that he can get back in the game. He's got a reputation. He can go abroad. He'll be able to pick up some type of money, and he would have been rejected previously in his career. So to deal with. So established professionals, it's easier when they get released from a football club. The problem and what's not spoke about is when you have these kids who come through the academy and they've signed their first pro and they've got their little Mercedes on finance, they've got their little Louis wash bag, they've got the sliders on, but they're nowhere near the first team, but they're on a 2-3 year deal. That contract then runs out. Now, people don't know about these players. Clubs don't know about these players. And they're not going to get the same money, for example, if they get released from Liverpool at 20 and they have to go to a Notts County or they have to go to a Lincoln to try and get a new contract. One, they're not going to get the same money. And they've been conditioned while they've been in the Liverpool Academy or the United Academy or Arsenal Academy to play a certain way. They go to League One, League Two, doesn't play that way. So they find it really hard to find football clubs when they get released because they think they're pros because they've got a professional contract. So they say they're bowling around and they're saying, yeah, I'm a professional because they've signed a 2-3 year contract at a Premier League club or a big championship club. The fact of the matter is some of them have hardly ever played 10 games. They've gone on loan and failed. So when they get released, that's when there's a big, big problem. We've seen footballers take their life because their dream has just been shattered. We have seen footballers go into depression, drug addiction, alcoholism, gambling issues, robbery, crime, because the status has just been taken away from them when they get released from this club. And they were the man in their clique. They were the man in their ends. They were driving the finance murk. Like I said, they had the little rollie, but they hadn't made it yet. And now they're getting released. And that pay stops there and then. That pay stops. You get released this summer, your pay stops. They'll have to pay you until July if you don't find a club, or August, I think it is, may have changed. If you do find a club, that's it. Then the new club has to start paying you. So what I wanted to talk about mainly was the fact that these young players, when they get released, it's very hard for them because they are conditioned at playing a certain way in academy football. And men's football, men's football, however you want to call it, championship, League One, League Two, even the conference is very, very different. And mentally, a lot of kids that get released cannot adapt to what's actually going to happen. They also go on trial at these clubs thinking it's going to be easy. But they quickly realize that it is very hard to make it as a professional footballer, an established professional footballer at any level. It is everyday commitment. It is everyday ruthlessness. And you have consistently got to be on at any level because people are paying their mortgages with these wages. People have got bills to pay. And as we know, footballers like to overspend. I was one of those. And, you know, you spend all your money and you're not intelligent enough and all these things when it comes to financial intelligence. And these young kids then go and try and get clubs and can't figure out why they're not getting a club. Many a times I was at clubs and kids got released from your Leicesters, your Liverpools, your Man Uniteds, your Arsenals, and Everton, and they would come to a Boston United in League Two at the time. And they struggled. We had 2 kids come from Man United. They got released. They were technically unbelievable. They did not know the physical side of it. They did not know what you have to hook balls. They did not know that people's mortgages are on the line. Whereas in academy football, you don't get that. So for me, if anyone's watching this, the young ones that have been released and you're looking for a club now, be prepared that you will have to step down 1, 2, 3 levels because you are still young. Be prepared that the Mercedes might have to go back. Be prepared that the Louis Vuitton wash bag will not be seen as a status in a League Two dressing room. Be prepared to mentally be ready for a challenge to get yourself back up the ladder. And if you're good enough, you will get yourself back up the ladder if you work hard and your mindset is right. 90% of the players that will get released from top level clubs who have made a first or a second year pro will not make it as footballers. That is the reality. They think they're footballers. They will not make it as footballers. 1% who make it pro are in the game past 21, 22. 1% of scholars who turn pro get past 22. Another 1% out of that 1% will be still playing professional football past 25. So it tells you how hard it is to become and, more importantly, remain a professional footballer. And a lot of children, well, kids, teens, early 20s will be getting released. A lot will be getting released this summer because you got to think out of academies, 80% of the academy teams are made up there to make the numbers. There's probably only 10, 20% maximum that have got a chance of making it. So they get released and get filtered down. And you've got to be mentally prepared to let go of the status of where you've been released. Because I've met hundreds over my time of players who have come down the leagues and think they are better than they are. And their mindset is not thinking this is a completely different level to under 21s, to under 23s. There's mortgages on the line. People are paying for 300, 400, 500 quid a week, and they've got 3 kids, you know? And these players who get released from Premier League clubs come down and they're on 4 or 5 grand a week, but that ends. And you've got to be prepared up here that this is going to be a battle. But if you are good enough and you are willing to work hard and take a step back from your status, you will have a great opportunity of coming back up the football pyramid, and you will be as good as you can be. It's entirely up to you. When I got released as a scholar, and then I also got released twice as being a professional. It's not nice. But when I got released when I was a professional, everybody knew about me. So I went and got another club, and I went and got another club with more money. When I got released when I was a kid, no one knew about me. So I had to go and play non-league football to get myself quickly back into the football league. From nice prestige grounds, from nice prestige training pitch, from my underwear and my socks being laid out for me, to all of a sudden, there ain't a towel in the dressing room. I'm getting Jaffa cakes and wine gums and I ain't getting Bassett's and I ain't getting McVitie's. I'm getting some beat down stuff. Mentally, you've got to prepare yourself that I've got to come down to go back up. Now, if you're not willing to do that, you might as well stop now. You might as well stop now. If you've been released and you're not willing to go backwards to go forward, you might as well stop now. And you think everything's going to be great, and you're going to walk into an Oxford United coming from a West Ham, and think all of a sudden everyone's going to look at you like you've just come from West Ham. No one cares where you've come from. Everyone cares about where you're at now and what you're going to do now in this situation. And a lot of young pros, they go into a club and they think that the other pros are going to look at them and say, well, yeah, you came from here, you must be a good player. It doesn't work like that. There's been thousands and thousands of players that have made it pro, all at these Premier League clubs and Championship clubs that don't make it. So my advice for the young ones who have been released is, like I've said, and I've stated it so many times, you've got to be willing to go down, roll your sleeves up, and prove to yourself and your family that you are a proper footballer. Come out of the bubble. The quicker you come out of the bubble and thinking that you're a professional footballer who played 10 first team appearances in your life, the quicker you come out of that bubble and stop telling yourself that, the quicker you will recover from being released from a football club. If you remain that I'm the guy and I've got the Merc on finance and I've got the Louis Vuitton wash bag and the sliders and I've got my off-whites on, etc., and you've only played 10 first team games. If you've got that mentality and you go to a League One or a League Two club, you'll be out the window. You probably won't even get a contract. And if you do get a contract, it'll last 2-3 years. Go with the mentality that you're starting from the beginning. Go with the mentality that you have got a point to prove. Go with the mentality that nothing is going to hold you back from wanting to be a professional footballer at the highest level. Like I will say again, 1% of scholars who make it pro are playing past 21. Out of that 1%, 1% are playing past 25, which then you're established. Think about it. Think about the chances. You got more chance of getting run over. You got more chance of loads of things. There's only 90 clubs and an average of 30 to 40 players at each club, and 45% of them are foreign. Think about the chances of you making a career out of football. It's very short. You got to make it count every single day as a professional footballer. And I'm telling you this because of the mistakes that I made. So I'm telling you this if you are watching this. If you're in football, if you're a parent, you may have a child who's been released, you don't know what to do. The only thing you can very, very strongly get into your child's mindset is they have to go backwards to go forward if they've been released. And a lot of footballers don't want to do that. So it's very important that I did this video at this time of year, because it's very, very good for a lot of people and a lot of teams who do well and people get new contracts, but that's only a minority. The majority of people involved in football, heartbreak most seasons, heartbreak, whether that's fans because of their teams have not been expectation, whether that's players who have been released. There's a lot of heartache at the end of a football season for the majority of people. And there's going to be a lot of people who are unemployed in football this year. So my advice to you, if you're a young pro, get rid of the Mercedes, get rid of the Louis Vuitton bag, roll your sleeves up, get back to basics, go lower down the league and prove that you are willing to put the graft in to be a footballer. Because I'm telling you now, I made a living out of running. I had to go down the leagues and I said, I'm going to run. And I made a living. And I played at Wembley and against Chelsea and all those things. But that was purely down to I decided to start running. It's as simple as that. So it's a very passionate video, this daily vibe. Boris, hey, what's popping and inspirational? Well, you know, listen, it's always good to give knowledge and experiences to the world. We read books. I read people's books. And I just see so many young footballers give up, and you've been preparing for this moment all of your life. You've been training since 5, 6 years old, all of your life. Don't let rejection bother you, because if you're going to let this bother you, you're going to let rejection in life, whether it's girlfriends, whether it's marriage, whether it's jobs, whether it's whatever. You cannot let rejection get in the way of what you want to be, because you will fail. So I could talk about it all day. Honestly, I've been on here for 17 minutes now. I really do appreciate popping in the chat. I mean, if you've not subscribed already, make sure you please hit that subscribe button. If you've got any more questions and you're watching this after, please just give me some questions in the YouTube comments. If there's anything that I can help with people who have been released from football clubs, etc., I will be there to give people some advice when it comes to this time of the season. But everyone thinks about the joys of football, but there's a lot of sad stories when it comes to football, which are the majority. And a lot of people their dreams are over. And I'm sure the people who are watching this, and you know, they had all the potential in the world, but their dreams cut short, whether that's through injury, unfortunately, or whether that's through getting released and they never quite recovered from that. So if you are watching this video and you have been released from as a young pro or an older pro, you know, not all older pros get jobs. There'll be 1,000, 1,500 footballers out of work this year, and only probably 150 will get decent clubs or jobs. There's experienced pros who need jobs, but the young pros who have been on a 2-3 year contract, no one really knows who they are. They've probably got 10 appearances and they've got a decent packet and they're driving around in the cars, and I've always said it, and etc. And they think they're the man. Trust me, you got to wake the F up, because the quicker you wake up, the more chance you've got of going back to restart, dusting off your shoulders and saying, listen, I'm the same as everyone else now at this level, and I've got to work hard to get where I need to be. Because football is a ruthless game. Everyone wants to be a footballer. It is a ruthless business. And you've got to have the mentality that you're going to have to deal with ruthless people in this game, because money is involved. Money is involved. Brett Jeffs, big up, Franny. Love your content with Curtis. Thanks ever so much for popping in. I know everyone's busy. I thought I would do a quick live daily vibe because it's a bank holiday, but I know people out there grafting. So good to see. So yeah, that is me. A quick 20 minutes. Like I said, hit the subscribe button. Really do appreciate all the help. I'm going to see what subject we get on tomorrow for the daily vibe. Maybe there's a bit of exciting news out there. We don't know. Could be Arteta getting sacked, which would be absolutely magnificent. But hey, I don't want a man being out of his job. Okay, we don't want that. So really do appreciate it. You take care, everyone, and have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. You take care.